Jordan
There
Poole,
you go.
Steph, Wiggins, Clay, and Draymond.
There you
Boom.
go.
The new 5-man lineup that's wreaking havoc on the NBA. They only have this 2-game sample size, but if you defensive rating, offensive rating off the charts, their offensive rating is over 200, and their defensive rating is 75, which is just astronomical in really any way you put it. Small sample size, but they've absolutely terrorized the Nuggets for these first few games. And it's been interesting because Steph Curry has come back from injury. The first game, Jordan Poole really took over and he didn't need to do too much. The second game, Jordan Poole took over as well, but Steph decided he wanted to do a lot. He scored 34 points in just 22 minutes, both games off the bench. But still, even if he's hurt, even if he's coming off the bench, whenever Steph steps onto a basketball court, that's really just enough to impact the game right there.
100% it's enough to impact the game with the best three-point shooter that I know I've ever seen, and the best three-point shooter in probably the history of the NBA, right? The man touches
Oh
the
yeah.
ball and he can hit from anywhere on the court. So the moment he steps across that line, whether coming off the bench or starting, the game is impacted. But what's interesting to me is Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing, right? Because now it was always right, the Splash Brothers. That's what they called them. You had
Hmm.
it's Steph and Clay, and now you've added a third to that mix. And Draymond could always hit when he needed to hit, that kind of thing. But now you got Jordan Poole, who's setting records for the most like 3-point field goals made by a rookie in his first 2 playoff games. Or did I read that
Yeah.
correctly? That I
Yeah.
read
So I
that
think it's
correctly,
just
right?
player in the first 2 playoff games, not even rookie, because
Not
he's not
even
rookie,
rookie, just
but just
just
first two
player.
playoff games. Yeah.
Yeah,
Most three
so,
points
like,
made.
his first 2 playoff games, he's hit the most three-point field goals of anybody, and it's just all great. Now the Splash Brothers have now added their younger brother, and you gotta take notice with that. You've got
Yeah.
reigning MVP and Jokic who cannot, like, do anything against Draymond, which is a whole 'nother point that is not even being mentioned right now. What'd he hold him to, 8 points or something?
So I mean, he's still got his. Yeah, when he's guarding him. Yeah.
When he's
I thought you
guarding
meant
him.
just total game, but yeah.
No, not total, but when Draymond's guarding him, it's 8, and that's significant. So not to mention the three-point field goals that they're just able to knock down seemingly at will. Now you're taking the best player off the court when Draymond's guarding him. That's gotta put a few people in the league on notice.
Yeah, and if the Warriors want to upset the Suns, which I think people are just penciling in the Warriors and the Suns in the Western Finals, Jordan Poole is still going to have to be an X factor because we know what the other guys can do. We know Steph Curry can be the best player on the floor at any point in any series that he's in. He's that good. We know Klay Thompson. He struggled a little bit early this year, but I think last game he had 20 points. Towards the end of the year, he was coming on as well where he can get hot. He's had 37 in a quarter before. Maybe he doesn't have that in him, but he can certainly get you 37 in a game still. And while Draymond's not going to give you a whole lot scoring wise, he can still facilitate the ball. He can still defend his ass off, obviously. So
Right.
if Jordan Poole can give you really what he's been giving you and just being another sharpshooter and somebody that can make plays for the Warriors, then you do have a lineup that's really tough to guard because there's no possible way that you can guard all three of those guys. So if you're going to focus in on like Steph and Poole because they're going to have the ball in their hands more, then you're letting Klay Thompson just pick his
Right.
spots and run around the perimeter and kill you that way.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what?